What is the deal? How are you guys all doing today? Welcome to the den. No. What's the motherfucking deal, man? Welcome to the den. If you're not familiar with the den is the best conversation. I mean, it's not even close. You know what I mean? You can ask around. It doesn't matter if they have a fucking million subs, 10 million subs, 1 sub, 2 sub. This is the best conversation on the entire fucking internet, especially YouTube. We know how YouTube likes to do people. But I'm your host, Ed Honcho, man. I thank you for being here. I just want to let you know I appreciate you for being here. If I can take the Fitbit off the charger. Today, man, gonna be a very interesting conversation. We haven't had this conversation in a while. And it's funny that we're having this conversation because I saw an old video of mine for some reason, like last week or so. It was getting a few views. I mean, it wasn't nothing major. It was just the den. But I just, for some reason, people were looking it up, and I was wondering why. And I was like, maybe I need to bring that topic back. It's been a couple of years since we had it, but today I want to talk about the streets don't love you, man. Like the hood don't love you. You know, none of this shit. And I hate to use it, but there's 2 examples of young men who have been gunned down violently. I guess when you're gunned down, it's automatically violent. I don't know. But in the last week or so, 2 very popular individuals, and just to let you know, man, that fame and all the other stuff, that doesn't protect you from anything. But we'll get into that. But first, let's see who we have joining us, because all of you wonderful people, all you lovely people, I'm glad that you could join us this afternoon. I don't know what this thing is doing. It's doing some weird shit. Let's see. I see Miss Trixie McFly. I know Miss Grace, and I believe Mr. Mandela. Because when the chat, after so long, because I kind of booted up early, so I know some people came in and left. Marie Antoinette, Coltrane, the Dawn of the Discord. What's the motherfucking deal? 17. What's the motherfucking deal? 12. 17, then 12. We're doing math today. Where's 5? D the Gamma, lovely Miss D the Gamma, how are you doing this afternoon, ma'am? The lovely Miss Jess Sarah, how are you doing this afternoon, ma'am? Kenneth, honorable mention Kenneth in the building. Let's see, John, my favorite New Yorker, what's the motherfucking deal? Power, what's the motherfucking deal? Calhoun. So, let's talk about it. Let's get into it, right? And so I know most people probably aren't familiar with these guys. I guess they would be, what you say, maybe more underground. I think one of them just dropped his first album. And I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't necessarily familiar with them until recently myself, only because of, other artists that I listened to. And then these guys, I guess, happen to do features or something like that. So I guess that, helps spread the word. Maybe that's why I need to do more YouTube collaborations, right? Maybe so I can stop kicking my desk too. Maybe I can spread the word like that. Maybe like the rappers do, right? Do features. But yeah, and so one gentleman from Chicago, we talk all about the stuff that happens in Chicago often, the violence and all of those things. And he was in Atlanta, I believe ran into an old associate. They got to scuffling, and it looks like the gentleman was getting the better of him at the time. And I believe one of the younger members of that old associate's crew ended up shooting Vaughn in the back, 26 years old, and then I think he passed away. And then another gentleman from Dallas, the Mo 3 gentleman, he was on the left side of the thumbnail. And I'm not super familiar with him. The only reason I had actually heard of him was earlier this year. At the loctician I used to go to, she was playing some of his music. I'm like, who is this? This goes kind of hard, so I kind of like what he's talking about. But I can't sit here and say that I ever just was like really looking for a lot of his music. I checked out a little bit of it after that, and I like it, but it has to be a thing with an artist. They just have to have something that makes me actually want to continue. It's like there's a lot of very good artists out there, but I just don't, I'm just not like a fan. Like they make good music, but I'm just not something like, I just got to keep listening to it. And so, like I said, he had these 2 gentlemen living very fast lives. We know what they rapped about. We know what the music was about. But a lot of these guys rap about this stuff, right? A lot of these gentlemen, they're telling stories about their lives and what's going on. But it's not even about just these 2. You can look at the laundry list. Who was the other guy? Another kind of underground guy, I think out of Chicago earlier this year, Duck. And who was it? Who was the guy, I think this year, Pop Smoke. You know what I'm saying? All of them. And you know what the crazy thing is? That all of these gentlemen who were killed, mainly all rappers probably in the history of time, I'm sure there's some Hispanic ones too, but have been been black guys and been killed by other black men. Is there a thing for that? Like, is there a thing for that? And I wonder, right? And I wonder, you know, why is rap music the only genre where we hear these issues? I was cracking a joke yesterday. I've never heard of Garth Brooks and Tim McGraw, you know, getting into a shootout with each other. I ain't gonna lie, Tim McGraw had the live as Averex jacket. I think it was that Indian Outlaw video. I gotta go back in the day and check that out. But you know, you don't hear about this in other genres. Rock and roll artists, you're like, that motherfuckers be too drugged up to be fighting each other, right? You know, you just don't hear this in other genres. Like, so why is it that a lot of these young men who are starting to come up, start to make money and start to do things, they just, it's always an issue. It's something that they can't escape from, it almost seems like. You know, is it them? Is it the people around them? Is it, hey, I've been living this way, I've now making money doing it, so why change, you know? The Vaughn kid, and again, I'm not making any apologies for any of these gentlemen for their lifestyles or the shit that they do, and I'm not putting them on a pedestal either, just speaking facts, right? And I believe he beat a triple homicide a while back, right? And, you know, situation like that, you think you kind of gotta say, hey, maybe I'm lucky, maybe I'm fortunate, or, you know, I'm not gonna get into the details of things, but whatever. Maybe I don't want to go through this, maybe I don't want to take that risk, maybe I'm not living right? Maybe I need to switch it up. But some people feel empowered by, you know, overcoming that. So a gentleman was talented in what he did, but, you know, you couldn't let the hood go. Now, the Vaughn situation was extremely fucked up, because this is why I start saying that the hood don't love you. You say, well, anybody can get shot. Yeah, random people get shot and robbed. Well, you know, most people get randomly robbed, or probably from somebody from the hood who's down bad, who ain't doing good. They don't necessarily maybe love themselves, or they don't love you either. But what I'm saying is, after this guy got killed, you know, basically he was in the hospital or whatever, there was some video footage, I guess, of his homeboys, the dudes that was with him, posted up at his house, taking all his clothes, basically stole some money and stuff, like I said, like a Louis Vuitton bag or some shit like that. I don't know. Regardless, it's all irrelevant. Shouldn't be taking anything. You know, you could kick it with him, you was cool with him, he was all this other stuff, but as soon as he was down, you found a chance to try to come up and skate out. Didn't go holler at his people, didn't, you know, I don't think he sent any well wishes to his family, anything like that. And you know, well, you know, that's just those type of dudes. Nah, it's a lot of y'all, especially if you're youngsters that are in here listening, it's a lot of y'all who have friends like that. And because they haven't done it to you yet, you know, you kind of dismiss some of their behaviors and some of their ways, but you've seen them do it to other people. Well, trust me, they're just waiting on the opportunity to do it to you. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say everybody was born in an impoverished environment, everybody was born, you know, in the hood is foul, is bad, but the likelihood is significantly higher. You know, when you come from a place of lacking, when you come from a place of without, you're more willing to do extreme things. And so I wonder, again, I was just curious, I was like, man, you know, these guys are having success, they're becoming well-known. Why can't that be parlayed into something else, right? Why can't that be something else? But it's unfortunate. I don't know how many children either one of these guys have, but you leave behind some youth who are, I don't want to say they're going to grow up in that life, depending on how well off they are, but you don't know how well the people around you are going to manage that money. Most likely, probably, whatever you're leaving them, not as well as you did, otherwise they probably have it like that themselves. So, again, and then with the Vaughn dude, I don't know who the chick is, Asian, I'm not familiar with, but I saw a lot of stuff attached. There's a lot of weird shit she was saying, and then I saw people saying that they wasn't even together like that, and I saw people saying that she was just making some stuff up, then went to a medium and making up last words. Straight up, man. Rico repaid full. Yes, niggas get shot every day, B. Appreciate the love, Rico. But that's all I'm saying, man. We're 22 deep. 9 likes. Hit that like button, goddamn. It's free. And so, again, you just like, man, what is it? What could be changed? What could help these guys adapt? But ultimately, there's nothing that you can do if you start choosing to live that lifestyle. You start promoting that lifestyle, and if it makes you money, then you're going to gravitate towards it. Sometimes people are fascinated with the living fast, dying young type thing. When you come from that type of situation, everybody around you, or a lot of people around you, haven't made it to old age, so maybe you don't value old age as much. You just figure, hey, my time's going to come when it comes. I'm just going to keep living my life. But I think that's a form of selfishness, right? Because, and again, it's almost like the athlete thing and everything else when I talk about, you shouldn't be having to look out for all these people, because it's always a lot of these young black men who come up and end up having to take care of their whole families that they didn't create, families that they were not responsible for bringing into this world. And it's kind of funny now that I'm thinking about it, like, we talk about stress and we talk about race relations, we talk about all these things, right? We talk about, it's this situation and that situation is why, with black people we're down and this, but in reality, when you really break it down, it's a lot of it is shit that we do to ourselves. This is a situation we do to ourselves. We talk about putting stress and pressure on young men. You expect these young men who didn't have all these kids, who did all the stuff to grow up and take care of mom. We talk about the moms in the black community and how much pressure and stress they put on young men and how much they have an impact on them. But yet, I'm not going to deviate into that conversation. That's going to be a whole other topic. But this is another one of those situations because I'm like, it shouldn't be his duty. But if he took on that responsibility, if he took on that role, now there's a lot of people who are lacking, who are without. The same with the other gentleman. Like I said, I don't know as much about him, but it was a bit more brazen. Out in the open on the freeway, they killed this man, had him laying dead in the streets, literally. It wasn't, again, I don't know his history. When you get into a lot of dirt, listen, make sure his audio playing. That's right. Damn it. I'm going to bring those back. So we should learn from Tupac and Biggie. Yeah, absolutely. But I think that Tupac and Biggie almost, it almost made it okay. You know what I'm saying? Because look how they got glorified. Look how they got worshipped and praised, and how they've been, worshipped and praised since then, made into martyrs and all of that stuff, right? It's almost like some of these people would want this to happen. But again, I sit here and I wonder, and it's not about rappers, it's not about rap, but we are against those thugs. But not even that. But it's about you, the individual, and I'm really hoping that this hits some young gentleman who may remind me of myself, or wherever you may be, if you can relate to it, who's in a situation where, you might not be in the best environment, you might not be doing all of the right things in your life right now, and you think, hey, it is what it is. And you'd rather gravitate towards these people, or, you want to do it for street fame or all this stuff. Trust me, it feels good when you ride clean, you're doing all this stuff. Yeah, it feels good. It's a beautiful thing. But what comes along with that fame is something that everybody loves to say that they have, and that's haters, the envy that comes along with it. And again, when you're accessible, hey, people will do things. Jealous people will do some of the most off-the-wall shit. And sometimes it's people will do stuff to you not because they even want what you have. They just don't want you to have more than what they have, or they don't want to see you doing better than them. And it's crazy. You don't know the type of envy. So that's why I'm always saying, you know what? If you get it, you got it. Get up out the hood. Don't come back. And I know people say, see, that's the problem. Well, people leave, and then there's no good role model. I understand that, right? I understand it, but like, who's going to fix that? Like, whose job is it? Who's responsible? Again, the best thing that you can do is show that it can happen, right? Show that you can do whatever it is that you do successfully and get up out the hood. I think that's better than staying there, because that's what everybody wants. And then, those who are not willing to, take part in those pursuits, you kind of got to deal with it. And I know there's a lot of different circumstances. I know there's a lot of unfortunate shit going on for people, but we're not going to get into this whole overly detailed, nuanced conversation about, everybody's knick-knack and tic-tacky problem, right? So, that's not what we're going to do. But it is extremely, extremely unfortunate, and I wish there was a way to change things. But we talk about Hispanic machismo, but there is a thing, you know, in the black community, especially with a lot of these rappers. I mean, a lot of rappers, you know, braggadocio, and they're you know, boasting and bragging, and sometimes you say things, right? And sometimes you got to say things a little bit more outrageous than the next man. But sometimes the next man is going to test you. And he'll say, oh, well, you said, you know, this, that, and the third. Well, are you really about that? And I know we say it should just be entertainment. It shouldn't be this, it shouldn't be that. But now with the ability for guys to, you know, make this music out of their fucking homes, you know, they really living that life, make the music to accommodate it. People like it, people rock with it. Well, there we go. Because what happens is this, and I'm finna be a hypocrite, and I'll own it. I'll be Honcho the hypocrite for a moment, right? But I'll also say these things, and this is what most people don't do. And so I'll take a partial hypocritism. I'll be partially hypocritical. And what that is that, yeah, I listen to rap music. I listen to it. I sometimes there would be periods I'll go, I'm not gonna listen to any of it because I know it's terrible. But it's catchy. It is what it is. But also I will condemn it, right? Because I'm old now. I'm kind of decided in my ways. There's certain things I'm not going to be getting into. I'm not going to be doing. I understand music from, you know, this. I don't really care what they're doing outside of the music. But with youth who are impressionable, influential, or easily influenced. I'm sorry, influential. But I guess some youth are influential. Easily influenced, and a lot of them in these environments lacking guidance and leadership. They're looking for something. They're just out looking for something. And if they relate to it, if there's something that they like, and then they feel like, oh, this is me, I got to do what he did, or I have to do it this way. I'm not encouraging that. So like for the youth, I think it's terrible, but I guess it's a young man's game too at the same time. So I don't have the answers. Or, y'all know my answer is always, you know, I want to start culling the herd, but that's a whole other conversation too. So I want to know what you guys think. Like, what is it about people falling in love with the streets? Is it the street fame? Is it the money? The power? You know what I mean? Because think about it, especially when you're dealing with certain individuals in certain environments, you know, when there's not very much, when there's lacking, and you got a little something, you feel better than other people, right? Is that how it works? I want to know. But again, so yeah, I'm not in mourning, exactly. I'm not in mourning, but what I am mourning is that the message that these young men send out will impact the future young men who could possibly go in a different direction. And so what I'm saying is, again, I don't know the answer, right? Because I'm a firm believer, hey, if you get you something, get the fuck out the hood, because the hood don't love you. They'll take what you got. They'll get you for everything. Even if you're doing it the right way, you could be a square, straight up person, and you know, it don't matter if you live in the street. Like, there's no morals, there's no ethics anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, there used to be rules, codes, and things to this, and now none of that shit matter. Everything's haywire. It's the fucking wild, wild west. And it is what it is, especially young. They don't care about shit. They just want to shoot something, you know, just to feel something. Like, some of these motherfuckers are so dead inside, like, and it's unfortunate. And I'm not saying it's just black people, it's, you know, people of all races. And not all. But it's like so many people are dead inside that they don't know what to do. The only thing they feel is when they kill. And again, it's very unfortunate. But, let me put the, like, hey, if you want to be in the conversation, let me put the link here. All right, and in just a moment, I will, you know, we'll start bringing in some guests. Y'all know how we do it. We switch it up just a little bit. Hold on one moment. All right, cool. But that's what I'm saying. Like, who do I think is a good role model for the black community? Oh, I could address a couple, but there's going to be issues with the people will find an issue because, you know, they don't got swag or they don't have this or that. But I mean, you can look at any black person who has been successful outside of entertainment. He's probably a pretty decent role model, and I'm pretty sure the majority of them are sensible. I mean, we can talk about Robert Smith. Nobody knew who he was until he gave niggas a bunch of money, and then they wanted him to give them more. You know, anyway. I have no issue with Ben Carson. I have no issue with guys like, well, he passed away, Herman Cain, and people like that. Like, I don't know, you're talking about these Republican squares, but these guys are people who grew up in the same situations but found a way out, who did it differently, right? So that's why there's no excuse for, I had to do this to survive. Like, no, it's instant gratification. A lot of it, again, is unfortunate, because a lot of these motherfuckers have shitty ass parents, or sometimes shitty moms, shitty dads, whatever. You know, and we can get into that. That's not the whole thing, but you know, they don't have anybody else to look up to, and so they want it now. They want to get out of a situation now. It's painful. It's causing them pain. It's causing hurt. Like, when you look around you, and all you see is, you know, turmoil, chaos. Like, you don't want to be in that. You don't want to live in that. You know, and that drives people. But it depends on how it drives. Sometimes it drives people further into the chaos. Some people, it drives them far away from it. They never want to go back. And then those people who are stuck in the chaos are, oh, they're Uncle Toms, they're sellout. Like, I don't understand this black thing. Like, I don't know if there's any other race who gets upset with their own for being more successful. Like, I don't know if there's any other race who, like, has terminology if there are people that are trying to do better, you know what I'm saying, for themselves. So, like, that's a weird thing to me. Yeah, Mr. Sowell, definitely, Thomas Sowell. Thomas Sowell is one of the greats, so I can't believe I didn't even think about that. So shame on me, yeah. Nah, that's crazy. That's super crazy. So a tweet came on and said he killed 5D shot too. Well, that's what I'm saying. That's my thing. Like, the guy has bodies on him, right? Are we doing this today? You too? Is this what we're doing? Somebody hating on the stream? Probably what it is. I'm gonna tell y'all what's going on, right? I'm gonna tell y'all what's gonna happen. It's gonna be a very interesting thing. There are people who are gonna come to this stream that probably don't really like it. I don't know how many thumbs down we got. There should be some. I'm assuming that there are some thumbs downs by now. But I wouldn't be surprised if you have somebody come through here, you know, caping for the behavior and the actions of these young men. Because, I mean, if you see the way the family around them responded to it, it's not about condoning violence. Like, they've accepted it. You know, it's a life of violence. It is what it is. This is what we do. But about to be as famous as MySpace. Yeah, it's super crazy. You say, stop trying to create a separate black identity in life, so be white. I'm not going to do that. I have no issue with being black, right? I have no issue with celebrating uniqueness. Like, Mexicans have their culture. I'm not going to tell you, oh, don't you better get rid of those goddamn burritos and pick up a hamburger, you Jose. You better do it now, or otherwise we're going to export you back. Nah, I'm not with that. Like, if you have culture, if you have things that, you know, you do differently, that's fine. But you shouldn't try to base your culture on trying to be the, you know, contrarian. You shouldn't be trying to build a contrarian. White people do this, and we're just not going to do this because white people do it. That's like the dumbest shit, because you start looking like an idiot. Like I told y'all the other day about the chick who posted something about legally casted votes sounds like whites only. That's like I say, the people have gone thirsty for madness. That's why, like, a lot of people's opinion, I don't really give a fuck. Like, a lot of people out there, I don't give a fuck. What I love about the Den is I've come to know some of y'all individuals, and that's what makes it super cool. But that's why I ask a lot of questions, because there's some ways of thinking I just cannot comprehend, right? And so I'm just like, you know, and I ask a lot of questions I may not understand. I may not ever fathom to think like that. So, but there will always be people who are going to come in here and they're going to try to, okay, well, you know, it was wrong and it was right, and what are you supposed to do? Like, I, again, don't know the answer. I would love to have a solution, right? But I don't know. I have a few ideas, but again, will they really... Yeah, I had to do it. I had to slide off the camera. I got all weird. My nose was twitching like that. Who was it? Which one of them fairies or some shit that off the fucking thing used to twinkle her nose and shit, and some magic shit would happen. That was Bewitched. And that bitch. Yeah, I said that. But, you know, the nose started twinkling and shit. Looked like a little rat. But like I said, you're gonna have people who are gonna come here and justify all of this stuff, but there's no justification. Like, This is a disease. This is the real problem. This is the real hate. Like, fuck all that cop shootings. Fuck all that other shit. You know what I'm saying? Y'all probably, honestly, if I really took a time to look and try to see if I accumulate a list, I'm sure, not going to say we're going to have more dead rappers than shooters, but, and I guess it counts because you got to think about the low-level locals. As a matter of fact, here in Houston, like I told y'all, 2 weeks ago, some nightclub I've never heard of, 3 niggas got killed. 3 rappers got killed. Like, and I don't think they were really famous. They were like, they said they performed there all the time. Like, I didn't know who they were. I don't think it was rung bells around the city or anything big like that, but still. So, like, how often is this happening? It's a bunch of, like, no names out there that are suffering. So it's like, again, who's doing all this? We know. And we don't want to talk about it. It's so easy to point the finger at, these George Floyd type situations, when these are the situations that are happening more and more. And again, it's not even about being a rapper, it's just about, again, niggas killing niggas all day fucking long, right? But we don't want to talk about this. It's been over, I can't remember which year in the 80s that the count started from. I keep wanting to think 82. I got to go back and find that article. But from that point until, I want to say about 2 years ago, because that's when I read it, there have been like over 850,000 deaths. Black on black. Black men killing other black men, or black people killing other black people. I'd be willing to bet my life. I'd be willing to bet my life that the number of police killings in that same time frame is not even a quarter of that. I would say probably not even 10% of that. I don't know. Like, not again 800. So you would have to tell me like 80,000 niggas that got killed by cops since then. I highly doubt it. Like, I extremely doubt that. So the big elephant in the room is fucking in here, kicking up dust, spraying its snout, and making all kind of noise. But we're gonna keep staring at this fucking little mouse hole in the corner, hoping a little rat comes out or something. Like, that's what we want. That must be the problem. Like, something tiny is what we give all our attention and focus to when the fucking house is being torn down around you, and then
we can
you
retire.
blame the mouse for
You guys are doing
problems.
a great job. The Ku Klux Klan.
Shout out to Dan the man. Appreciate the love. That we can retire. You guys are doing a great job. Absolutely. And thank you, Dan, sir. But I was gonna say, it's crazy up until this point. Like, I don't know how much more obvious it has to be, because we love to point the finger everywhere. You had 2 niggas get popped in a week. You had, again, these are prominent individuals of some sort in society, well known and all that. But I say all that to say too, these men are not innocent. They were not without fault. Sometimes your past just takes a little while to catch up with you. I'm pretty sure it's an individual or 2 out there that ain't probably too happy I'm around. It is what it is. But it's just kind of how it works. But it's crazy. It's fucked up, and it's wild, because what I think ends up happening is with a lot of these dudes, they know what they're doing. It ain't what it is. They know it's fucked up, but this is who I am. This is what I am now, and I accept it. I think a lot of these dudes, you see them smiling and flash money. They do these things to run from their demons, right? And I mean, and once you've crossed a certain threshold in life, there's no going back. You a killer. You a killer. You don't get to unkill. You don't get to resurrect. You don't get to bring anybody back from the dead. Once you're a killer, right? And once you've decided to accept this role in life, then it is what it is. You're gonna catch a couple more. It's not going, until somebody catch you. That's what's gonna happen. And once you kind of cross that point in your mind, there's no going back. You know what I'm saying? And it is what it is. But so I think a lot of these guys deal with demons. They laugh and they smile and they flash, and to hide the pain, just to keep from doing anything. But they're doing these things to really avoid having to deal with what's going on inside. Like, it's some fucked up shit going on. I'm not a fucking psychologist. I'm not a therapist. I'm not none of this shit. But it is what it is. You accept the lifestyle, you live it, and you just keep it pushing. So, real quick again, I'm gonna put the link in there if you guys want to be a part of the conversation. Actually, let me do it like this, because that would kind of push it down to the bottom. Let's do it like this. If you want to come and join the conversation, And again, like I said, we're straying away more so from the den line. And I'm fucking with the yard. So that, again, the den is all about a conversation, right? And again, you don't have to show your face. You can just click the link and, you don't really even have to put an icon. Just put your name in the thing so everybody knows who it is. Who is on the line. Who on the line? And, replace that. There we go. And we go about there. So, like I say, man, it really is. It really is. Like I said, again, I'm not necessarily feeling sorry. I'm not making excuses for these behaviors. I'm not none of that, because again, you realize when you do something, you can't rectify certain things, but you deal with the decisions and the choices that you make. But I'm just hoping that there's some youth out there that are seeing that this ain't the life, this ain't what it is. Is it worth it? 27 years old, I think the Mo guy, the King Von dude was like 26, who was Duck. The other guy was that in August, a couple of months ago. I think he was 26 or 27. I don't know how old the Pop Smoke kid was. And again, like I said, there's just a laundry list of them here, there, and everywhere. And the majority of them are young, never really living life. The 20s ain't living life. The 20s is you're discovering shit, But again, a lot of these dudes start off way young. They jumped off the porch early, 11, 12 years old. And so you've been kind of
When I
for
type
yourself
Black
again.
Lives Matter in my iPhone, these 3 emojis automatically show up now. Raised fist, dark skin tone, raised fist, medium dark skin tone, raised fist, medium skin tone.
That is crazy. That's crazy. I hate it. That shit makes me vomit. Appreciate the love, 17. But here's the thing, and I agree, Great Day. The black household is broken. And I think that, here's my deal. Because I know some people are really anti-religion, some people are religious, and whatever. I'm going to tell you what religion does. And I'm not saying I'm against it, because I think it is important to have a belief in something greater than yourself. But religion kind of does the same thing that like the military does for some people, and some people it works for both. But it gives them structure, it gives them a code, it gives them discipline, right? Because when you have too many options, when you're unrestricted in your behavior, you're bound to make bad decisions. Like the things that benefit us in America in freedom also hurt us, right? Because we were talking about the thing, that hopefully the vaccines are coming for thing that we were talking about the other day in the Discord, and I was mentioning, I was like, it's actually really true. The things that we love about being free are also the same things that put us in danger in certain situations. Where other countries, where you go outside, you ain't got that fucking mask motherfucker slap you with a stick and kick you back in the house and shit. Now it may be painful, it may not be good, but hey, you may prevent him from getting the roni. Man, was it worth it? But I'm going all over the place. But what I'm saying, it gives that structure, it gives that discipline, and all of that is out of the household. You have the moms now. Old school moms were legit. Even old school single moms were still. So like, I don't. Let me. Somebody gonna piss. Fuck it. Fucking hardworking single moms don't exist anymore. Now listen to what I'm saying. Old school. If you're like over 32, you may still be in the working category, but you're tainted. Like if you're over, like if you're in your 30s, but like not quite in your 40s, even in the 40s now too, they're tainted. Because now the women are almost more obsessed with trying to compete and still be getting attention on social media and doing all these things. I mean, if you're at that age, your kids should be grown anyway, but then really raising the kids right and doing all that. So now the kids are seeking attention. Mama giving attention to Instagram, and some of that mama's giving attention to OnlyFans the wrong way. But speaking of OnlyFans, make sure you join onlyfans.com/Ed Honcho. No, I don't do any of that ratchet shit, but we're going to have a damn good time. Actually, we're going to have a live, because I told you they gave me my live privilege. So we're going to have a live today on the OF. So if you are on there, make sure, I don't know how to send out extra notifications. I'll try to send a message through the platform or whatever. After the den today, probably about, get out here at 3, probably about 4 o'clock, we're going to do a little short live, maybe about 30, maybe 45 minutes in the OF to fuck with some shit. But like I said, now they're distracted. They don't have the same morals and integrity. Back then, moms were about raising good kids. Even like, I don't even know if it was to spite the dad for abandoning them, but they were determined to raise good children and try to do whatever. Now, again, it's tough. Without a male figure in the house, especially if you got boys, a mother cannot do it. I don't care what you say. That boy has had, even if you think, well, I raised him as a man, he's had a male role model in his mind. In your mind, you might have thought there was it. There's a male role model that he patterned himself after somewhere. Because, again, women can do a great job of, helping a young man grow and teaching him, empathy and things like that, maybe. But as far as being a man overall, or the man that wants to become a woman, cannot teach a man how to be that. So that's where you're getting a lot of these problems. It's usually the young men that are running out into the streets. They join these gangs or whatever. They want this, this older male role model. They're poor role models, and they're just encouraging them to do dumb shit. Or these older gentlemen may know that, and they're using these young kids, and they're taking advantage of their mindset and using them to do dirt and do crimes, do all this shit to keep themselves at risk, to keep them like basically a proxy. And it's so much shit going on. It's fucked up. And a lot of these young dudes don't even realize that may have happened to them. And they may have been all right, and they, kind of made it through. And now that they're trapped in this mindset, and I get it, because if you've only done something for so long, it's fucking hard to transition into something different. This is from personal experience, right? When you making money and it's nothing, you know what I'm saying? Really, like, it's not really a lot of effort, or, you just, the lifestyle is good. You fall in love with the lifestyle, really. And, but you say to yourself, hey, this ain't good, or you get into some shit and you're like, man, this ain't what's happening. There's a point where you got to make a crucial decision. And I've told my thoughts about it a bunch. Like I said, I was sitting in, not the most recent time, not this year, way back, when I was sitting in the county, and I'm just sitting there looking at all these old men, like, I'm looking at young niggas, I'm looking at old men, and everybody's just too comfortable in this. I'm not comfortable in this, like, I'm not comfortable being restricted. And, man, I'm just sitting back, I'm ear hustling, I'm watching and just seeing what's good. I'm just like, I'm listening to some of these old dudes tell these stories, and I'm like, no fucking way. I can't be that. Like, I couldn't imagine. It was just a moment of clarity. I couldn't do that, right? And then, having to deal with some other issues, and like I say, trying to make that transition. There's still things that I deal with, trying to be normal, I guess you could say. And it's difficult. And if you don't have a support system or somebody to give you the proper advice, like if all you know is detrimental individuals, then you're more than likely to rescind back into that poor behavior. And that's what most of us have. Like, most of us aren't looking for something positive, something different. Or most of us are looking for ways to embrace our poor behavior and justify it like, yeah, it's meaningful. And so it's crazy, man. It's a lot of shit going on. Oh, man, absolutely. The toxic mother is the worst. There's a lot of these mothers who encourage these men to run out in the streets. You look at a lot of these young rappers who are out here. Look at their moms, right? And there's a lot of these younger rappers who are out here. Look at their moms, and their moms are trash. Like, I mean, complete trash. And then, like, they fix them up and they put them up. Their moms be 50 years old trying to look and dress like these young motherfuckers, got the fucking caterpillars on their face and made them, they going getting shot and going all this, like what's wrong with you, right? That's not right. But hey, that's that black excellence or whatever y'all want to call it, like y'all setting these low these low bars, man. And you almost got to commend the young man, because you look at some of these moms, like, there's no way she could have molded you into shit. I see why you ran out in the streets. Like, I understand. Because you probably had a lot of uncles, and she ain't got no brothers. You feel me? Do you understand what I'm saying? You don't know your daddy. You got a lot of uncles, but your mama ain't got no brothers. Do you feel what I'm saying? So I understand why some of these young niggas running out in the streets, man. So I get it, man. I get it why they go and make some of these decisions. But again, like, what can we do? What can be done to make, create better opportunities to avoid this from happening? I don't know. I don't know if there's an answer. I don't know if there's an outcome. But I see we have somebody ready to join us in conversation. And again, if you want to be a part of the conversation, if you want to be on here, again, you don't have to put your face on there. I know some of y'all are, how does Trill say, unlucky looking. But It's all good. It's all good, baby. Let me. Oh, I guess I need to change my thing. Hold on. That's my problem. Give me 1 second. Let me switch the layout in the scene and all that good stuff. So I'm like invisible, but I'm still here. You know, I'm still strong. I'm still standing. Yeah. Y'all like that, don't y'all? Y'all like that shit, huh? That shit cool, ain't it? Do 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 I remember I told you the other day, like when you be on the fucking, you used to be like little, you get like a hand mirror, right? And fucking hold it up to the, you'd hold it up to the fucking, to the dilly dally. And then it would fucking make like that endless shit. Yeah, that shit is, that's neato. All right, so let me actually, let's do this. All right. And let me fix myself here. Y'all give me just 1 moment. And let me change my layout here for just a moment. And then we'll be good to go. Give me just un segundo, por favor. Where am I at? Let me get myself out of here. I got like shit all over the place, like, cause you know Google's really stupid. No, they're actually probably the best shit in the world, but I hate them. And they make it to where I can't even access my certain channels on other things. Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
All right, there we go. All right, so I'm back. So now y'all see the man behind the curtain, the wizard behind the wall of Oz. There's no clouds. There's a green screen behind me. I've been exposed.
If you're gonna refer to me as a wizard, please put the word grand in front of
it. Not that kind of wizard. Hold on 1 second. Okay, there we go. We're good. So yes, like I say, the mask has been revealed. It's been a green screen behind me the whole time. But let me fix that too while we're talking. But Mr. John, man, how are you today, sir?
I am doing fantastic. Horrible weather over here, but other than that, I'm doing great. How about you?
Oh, pretty good. The weather's actually not too bad around here. Other than having to make sure small children behave properly in class, everything is going well. Yeah,
yes.
This is not my house, y'all. Don't ask me about this house. Like, this is just like the default.
Yes, it is.
House.
Yes, it is. You just don't want people to stop sending you in donations when they see how you're living.
This is a default house in this thing. This would definitely not be my color scheme. Yeah, so you'd probably see Scotty running around back there. Now he'd be laying down back there being a little fat ass. But Mr. John, man, these two gentlemen, and it's not really about the dead rappers, but were you a fan of either of these guys? Have you ever heard of either of these guys?
I've heard of the name King Von, and actually the way I only heard of his name like a month or two ago, and I only heard of it because some other rapper got shot. I think it was Little Durk, I think, or Duck or something like that.
Yeah, Duck. Yeah, I think Von and Durk were friends, and I think they caught a case together or something like that. So they can't be around. They weren't supposed to be around each other for some period of time.
So I literally learned about King Von through the death of another rapper, and now he's dead. And then there's also another guy on your screen, Mo, I think is his name.
Yeah, Mo.
I've never heard of him, but it's just crazy that it's like I'm literally learning people's names because someone else died, and then that person dies, and then it's insane.
Yes, Delta IMA squad. I'm squatting in this virtual house. Yeah, it is crazy, and it seems like I said, I don't know, because it just seems like people are accepting it. They're okay with it, and the people are gravitating toward the attention around it. Like, I don't know if you heard about kind of what happened after the Vaughn guy got shot in Atlanta, but he had some alleged friends who were supposed to be his associates, and what do? They immediately run back to the house where they were staying with him at, and basically clean out his closets and everything he had there, and catch a flight and get out of town. Is that in any way surprising to you?
Wait, were they so they pretty much stole from him and then took off?
Yeah.
Is that? Yeah, some set of friends, huh?
Mm-hmm.
but that's on him. He should have known. He should have. This goes for all of us. We should keep our friends close and our enemies even closer. And you should understand. And you should have an idea of where people stand with you. If they've been through it with you through tested times, then that's usually someone you can trust. And I don't know, they'll probably just, I mean, I'm just speculating here, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was just another, entourage that was around him for money and fame.
Yeah, that's with most.
We see it all the time. We see it all the time with musicians, Hollywood, actors, etc. What did MC Hammer have, like a 50 crew clique or something like that he used to bring around before he went bankrupt?
yeah, he was rolling deep. Hammer was the original OG of the entourage.
Yeah, but I mean, I think a lot of this stems from, getting to the children when they're young and being a good influence. Setting their mind in a particular direction, teaching them discipline, like you mentioned a little earlier about how the military teaches discipline, self-respect, stuff like that. Right now it just seems like, especially with the younger crowd, more than ever, they're chasing the materialistic things. The gold chains, the $500 T-shirts, holding the stack of money up to your phone, up to your ear like it's a money phone. I think, people are not really focusing on things that matter. Because at the end of the day, I mean, most people never heard of King Von or Mo or RBG Duck. I mean, so it's like, what's their legacy? They died in the street over gun violence, and at such a young age. I believe they were all in their 20s.
Yeah.
That's freaking super young. I've literally lived about double all of their ages. I'm in my 40s, so it's just like, it's insane that they're kids. They're kids and they're dying.
Basically, and that's the thing that concerns me most. And I know, even in my 20s, it took a little bit. I had to bump my head a couple of times and everything that were going on. And so I know, to a young man, young and full of testosterone, and with living that type of lifestyle, it can be hard to reach them. But do you think there's a solution, or do you think there's a point where it gets where it's too far gone and it's just kind of up to the individual themselves?
I think you can get to someone at any age. The older you get to them the more it's going to be, the more difficult it's going to be to bring them back. That's why I think it's important to get to them when they're young. That's why, you and I have said this a million times. It's important to have a 2-parent home, have a strong male figure in the house, have a strong female figure in the house that can, give them a good balance of personalities and just share all your wisdom with them. Have someone to go to when they're having tough times, instead of, going to the streets or somewhere else where they might get bad advice or no advice at all. And then you have a young, impressionable mind that's left to think for themselves when they don't have the tools to build their own mind properly.
I agree. Now, you said something that I definitely agree with, and that was early when you said that now it seems like they're more materialistic, the phones, and we know what Instagram does to people and all that. But do you find that there's any surprise that now that they're more materialistic, that they're also more depressed than ever? Because you start hearing these studies about these younger generations that they feel helpless, hopeless, when there's really more opportunity than ever before at any other point in time in history. But it just seems like it's escaping them for some reason. What do you think the source that is?
Yeah, I agree with that. I did read a study about, I forgot what the exact numbers were, but they were talking about how a certain percentage of Facebook users are depressed. And I just think, social media does have its advantages. We're able to spread important news extremely quick within a matter of seconds. And people who necessarily would not be included in a certain inner circle now have that ability to do so. But at the same time, maybe where the problem comes from is everything is just a simple, 2 taps and you like it. Everything is swipe left, right, real quick, gone. Don't have to look at it again. It's, we have the patience of a gnat these days.
Correct.
And maybe with that comes along a lack of compassion.
I agree. I think people are so disconnected because we'd rather, like you say, we'd rather interact through the social medias. And I'm guilty of it myself sometimes. You know, I'd rather a text than a phone call sometimes. But it depends on who it's from. Some people get on the phone and talk a lot about a lot of nothing. But it's, you know, and so I get it. Like, I get it a little bit. Sometimes it's convenience, but then that convenience can develop into a certain mentality that cannot be good. And I think that we've lost human interaction. I have this firm belief that, you know, we used to kind of hear like little crazy stories back in the day when people didn't have the same level of communication, and maybe they'd meet somewhere, say like a fucking Woodstock or something, and somehow, some way, they end up meeting somewhere across the country again at some point in time. Like, I just feel like people had this, were more sensitive to what's the word I want to use? I don't want to say humanity, but there was more of that connection was there. Like, we had better relationships. We understood each other a little bit better. And now, like I say, we're in a point where nobody gives a fuck, nobody cares. And, you know, like you said, it's just everything is materialistic. So if there was a way to maybe make a widespread implementation, and I know there's not, but like, where would you start? Like, is this something that maybe could be maybe implemented into the school system, or is it just really an individual family basis or parent or whatever you got going on? Do you think that, you know, if somebody say there's a young man out here who's going through something, what advice would you give them? That's maybe a better question.
I think the only way you're gonna effectively minimize this is for that industry to not make as much money. You know, people chase money. Especially if they think they have the illusion that it's easy money or quick money. So I think if there's less money in it, there's less fame in it, they'll stop going in that direction as much. Anything that could help the mom and dad stay in the child's life, whatever that may be, whether it's, you know, working on building up the church or whatever it may be, you got to do that. I think if you start there, you don't have to worry about the other things that come down the road. If you start at the base, you know, it's like most people aren't on the streets gangbanging. Correct. Most people aren't trying to become a professional rapper. Most, you know, it's a very small percentage of society that does this. So, you know, at the end of the day, you know, it's kind of crude to say, but there's just a certain amount of people that are going to do this no matter what. Yeah. You know, it's so I think, and I think that's one thing to not forget. You know, it's, and it's just, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to crack a joke, but I will. It's like, you know, two black rappers shot each other, and nobody outside of like the drill music scene is talking about it. But if a white rapper shot a black rapper, it'd be all over TV and it'd get the attention that it needs.
It'd be the biggest story of all time. Like, it'd be, I could only imagine. Man, say somebody like Eminem shot a black, it'd be game over. It'd be the wildest news week you ever heard. All right, Miss Jess.
It'd be like G-Eazy or Yellow Wolf shooting up, you know, it'd be all over the front page, you know, racist rapper.
Yeah, and it could be a similar. It could be the same situation. It could be a situation where one of these guys go out and it could be, hey, you know, my life is in danger. You guys jumped me. You brought a crew or whatever, and I'm just defending myself. Oh yeah, it would definitely turn the narrative once you change the races. But why don't you think guys who are all in this industry, we see these guys do features with others. We see these guys use, like, why don't you think that they can't come together maybe in a better way? And I mean, and it's not just, I guess that's not just now, because it's been historically, like I said, we can go all the way back to Biggie and Tupac, and I don't know if that set off a chain of events. And I know who was the guy, I think in New York, Big L, I think his name was.
That was back in the day.
Big L.
Big L was like in the 90s. Yeah. I was in high school still.
Okay. And so, like, you know, and it's getting like, but it's just like you said, it's kind of stuck with this genre, this particular kind of music. I don't know, man. Like, I don't understand why. We're all trying to get money. We're all trying to do the same thing. It's in our best interest to promote this in a way where we all benefit. But for some reason, cooler heads can't prevail. Is that a male thing?
That cooler heads can't prevail?
Yeah.
No, it's a human being. That's a human being thing. It doesn't discriminate based on sex. You know, women are some of the most catty, aggressive, violent people on earth. You know, it just is what it is. I mean, and some men are too. It just is what it is. It's going to depend on genetically what brain you inherited and how you were raised. And and if you respect yourself and if you're smart enough to know that acting a fool probably isn't going to be in your best interest in the long run, and you use your mind to outthink the person instead of out punch the person or out shoot the person, you'd be better off. There's female gangsters out there. There's female, there's a whole lot of Sharkeishas out there.
Yeah, quite a bit. I know. Yeah, we definitely see. All you got to do is look up two women fighting, and you'll get or women fighting, you'll get a laundry. You might get more videos of women fighting than you do fucking men. I'm going to be honest, and that's unfortunate. Okay. I don't know, Mr. John. Any other thoughts that you have on this situation, or just kind of the things around it?
Just like to say, I know some people are gonna say, "Oh, fuck these guys. They lived by the gun. They died by the gun." Mm-hmm. But and they knew what they were getting themselves involved. Mm-hmm. So it's like they do bear some responsibility. But at the same time, I don't want to see anybody dying and people so young just dying in the middle of the streets over what? A fight? Someone says something about someone else's group. It's like, come on. It's like, people are dying. It's not worth dying over. Just wish people would wake up and just do a little bit better. And on a lighter note to end the conversation, since we don't have to end it on death, my Jamaican Scotch bonnet peppers ripened, and I picked my harvest. So my garden it was a good year for my garden.
Jamaican Scotch
bonnet pepper. Yeah, it's used throughout the Caribbean, but it's most commonly people associated with Jamaica.
Okay. I've never heard of them. Let me jot that down. So are they nice spice, or is it some kind of overwhelming?
Yeah, they're like there's like 20 to 25 times hotter than a jalapeno.
Yeah, I don't want nothing to do with that then.
Yeah, it's got a very sweet flavor to it. So what a lot of people do is they don't want too much heat. Mm-hmm. Is they'll put the pepper in whole. Mm-hmm. They won't let it crack while the dish is cooking. Mm-hmm. So that way you get that sweetness flavor, as well as just a little bit of heat. Mm-hmm. But if you crack that open, they have if you go on YouTube and you punch in Scotch bonnet pepper challenge, mm-hmm. you'll see it's a challenge of people trying to eat a whole pepper and see if they can last for more than 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's terrible. That's a terrible decision. That's cool though. I'm gonna check that out. So how many did you harvest total?
What's that?
So how many did you harvest total?
I planted 3 plants. I got about 70 peppers. So I wash them, I dry them off, I cut them in half, I put them in a Ziploc bag, and for every dish I cook, I put half a bonnet in it.
Okay. You're a spice guy. For spicy food.
Big time spice. Okay. Yeah. If it doesn't burn on the way out, it's not hot enough.
All right.
What do they call it? I'm a sadist. I'm a sadist with these peppers.
I feel you.
So anyway, want to say, Honcho. I'm sorry, were you going to say something?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
I just want to say thank you for allowing me on the show today. I just want to say, guys, if you're not subscribed to the Den. Hit the like button. Leave a comment. I left a comment on What It Do 713's channel. I believe that's Man Up.
Yes, sir.
Is that okay? I left Kemah has a good video about Steve Harvey out. I subscribed yesterday to his channel. My channel is a John from New York show. We put out videos once or twice a week. We cover every topic from politics to current events, race relations, dating advice, etc., or whatever. Lately, it's been a lot about politics, but I'm going to start doing some other topics too. I'd appreciate it if you swung by, subscribe, hit the like button, drop a friendly comment, or maybe not a friendly comment, but not more than one.
Everybody but Heidi.
Everyone's welcome as long as you don't spam the chat room and as long as you leave something constructive to the video, whether you agree or disagree with it.
Absolutely.
So I just want to say, God bless you, Honcho. God bless everybody in the chat room. I love y'all. Peace.
All right, Mr. John from New York. Thank you, sir. Glad you could join us this afternoon. You have a good one.
You too.
All right. Shout out to Mr. John. And again, yes, I also recommend that you go and check out the John from New York show. Now, somebody will say, well, how do I get there, Honcho? Well, it's a very simple process. If you go to the main page of this Den channel, it is in the featured or recommended channels. You'll see What It Do 713. You'll see the John from New York show. You'll see this weird channel called the Be For Real show. I don't even know why it's there. I have no idea why it's there, but it's there. You'll see Miss Meat and some, and I think there's one more. I got to remember what the other one is. But we got someone else joining us today. Who do we have in the mix with us this afternoon?
Greetings, Mr. Honcho. It's your old pal Frost here.
Mr. Frost, how are you doing this afternoon, sir?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
I'm doing good. Been a minute, Mr. Frost. I hope all is well. I'm looking at this icon. I'm not going to say anything. Yeah, Ravens fan. But what's on your mind today, Mr. Frost? How do you feel about what's happened with these two young gentlemen and just kind of, the circumstances that led up to these situations?
Well, honestly, Honcho, as far as these two guys go, this guy, King Von and Mo 3, I'm gonna be honest, like I said, I really don't know too much about these guys. I really don't, but it's real. But then again, it's a real shame. It's a real shame what happened. It's a real shame what happened to them. And it pretty much just goes to show, no matter who you are, people they may love the streets, but guys think the streets never have and will never, like I said, they'll never love you back.
Absolutely, Bill.
All they do is take, like I said, the streets are always there for one thing, to take.
That's what it is. When you're in an environment of lacking, somebody is trying to gain, and if you got it, they're more than willing to get you for it. I agree. So, even now with just these two gentlemen, this is kind of a common thing that we see with younger rappers. Seems like the older rappers, maybe they survive it, so they get through it, so maybe they die old. But it seems like a lot of these rappers in their 20s, early, some of these in their teens, we lose a lot of them. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that's so prevalent in rap music?
I don't know. It's because I don't know. I said I really have no ideas, because because it seems like that's pretty much where rap started from. That's pretty much where rap started, from the streets.
But I agree. You definitely it's from the street. But I think people then were telling a different story, and I think you had different people. You had people maybe who were observing what was going on, who might not have been all the way in it. And, they're telling you the stories of their neighborhoods. And I think the guys who were in it start saying, hey, wait, these guys are profitable. They're getting a lot of fame for what they're doing. I'm in the streets. I'm putting on for the hood. Let me get some of that too. And then I think once some of those guys who were really living that lifestyle got to get involved in it, it started to change. But I want to go back to a particular movie, right? I want to talk about NWA, the NWA movie. Not necessarily about the movie, but the group. How much of an impact do you think that had? Because that kind of changed a lot of people's perception of rap music. It kind of changed what rap music was about. It ushered in the quote-unquote gangster rap on a nationwide scale. Do you think that NWA has to harbor some blame for some of the behaviors of these rappers?
As far as the music goes in general, I think it's not really so much just an NWA thing as it was mostly just East Coast West Coast thing. Like, for example, like I said, don't you remember in the 70s and 80s? Don't you remember you had people like Can Play, Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, LL Cool J, and many others. Originally, they were like the good clean rap, basically just dancing, appearance, girls and stuff like that. And then, like I said, then as time went on, then you had people like NWA, Dre, Snoop, all of them, and then that's when I think the guns and killing and violence and stuff came about, because back in the day, rap was pretty much like it was pretty much just based around like what you grew up with. What you grew up with. I mean, sure, New York rappers dealt with that too. But that's the thing. But that was more like for like the lower people who had to deal with it. Once you got higher, you were pretty much above that. But that's the thing. And as for the West Coast rappers, even when they did reach that higher echelon, they still dealt with that, as that movie Straight Outta Compton showed. So it's pretty much like where you're from and like where you came from.
It's terrible. I don't know what y'all see in his background. I don't know none of it. I don't even know what the background is. And yeah, it's terrible stuff. So again, for those who are tuning in, this is not my house. I don't know what that is. Okay. So yeah, and again, people are influential. And again, I'm just kind of being a bit of a ass about it. I don't blame them. People have to own their choices once you get to a certain point. But it just concerns me. And again, it's not about the rappers. You're going to put yourself out there. You're going to put yourself in the front lines. All that. It's the children who listen to this that get influenced. We talked about certain homes, especially when it's a single parent home, whether it's a single mother, single father. It makes it much more difficult to keep track of what your children are doing when you have to work, when you have to do all these other things. But you have, I guess, more advantage for certain single mothers who get benefits without maybe having to work, and they're more preoccupied with other things, or what's going on in the neighborhood than they are with their children. So that leads to a different path. Do you think that there is a solution for this? Because we all know the problem, but do you think that there is a solution for situations like these?
Honestly, I really don't think there is one. Is because when it comes to stuff like you said, like the streets, crime, shooting, all that stuff. There is no, like I said, there is no solution or anything to it, because you can't. It's one of those things that you can't stop. You can't stop it. You can't stop it. You can't stop it. You can only control it, because as long as there's the street, as long as there's crime, as long as there's shooting, as long as there's shooting, like I said, as long as there's shooting, like I said, it's one of those things you can't stop. You can't stop it. You can only control it.
Do you think those people in the streets are super predators?
Super predators.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean by that?
Do you think that the people in the streets are preying on weak-minded people? Either their addictions, by making money on selling them drugs, or if they're rapping about this lifestyle, people who are infatuated. Because you got a lot of people. This is something and this is why I say, let me expand this, because I've been actually wrong about what I've been saying the entire time. This whole stream, I've actually been wrong about something I've been saying, because I'm talking about this music only impacts lower income black people, but it doesn't. It also impacts black middle class, because I don't know if but I've seen it, and I'm sure most have. You've seen black kids who've grown up in middle class suburban areas or whatever. They're not in that environment. They didn't live anything like that. Everything was always there, and they may have had a two-parent household, but then they go off, and when they get out on their own, they feel like they have a point to prove, or they have to, prove that they're black enough or whatever it is. And I've seen lots of guys who were just, like I said, regular suburban kids, go either to college or go other places and feel like they got to fit in and do some other, and then end up ending in a situation where, they're a part of something that they probably never should have, because they felt like they had to prove that, I'm just as tough, or I'm just as black because the music says this or says that. Now, that's my personal opinion. Do you think that music influences, the black youth in that way, in that manner?
Music has always had an influence on people. Has always had an influence one way or another. One way or another. Given how back then, even today, it's mostly always been music has an influence on kids. Like I said, but for me, I've always maintained that that's not exactly like the kids' fault. That's more like on the parents, because that's more on the parents, like mom and dad. You let them, like I say, you let them watch this person, you let them listen to it, and you let it influence them. So like I said, so my only thing is, like I said, because seeing this out, you see, if this was an adult, look, when it comes to like adults letting it influence them, that there's nothing you could do about that, because you can't tell somebody how to act. really tell somebody how to act on their actions. But as far as kids listening to it, that's up to the parents. That's up to the parents. Like I said, you see the person TV, like I said, you don't want your kid, you don't want your kid like that, turn it off.
But in this day and age where everything is accessible, do you think that parents can fully do that? Back in the gap, I think they could. Now, I think, me personally, I think it's a little difficult, but possible. But do you think that parents can really control what their kids are listening to, especially like say you're going to school, right? All the other kids have phones. Like, okay, like me, the little one, she has a phone, but it's restricted in when and when she can't use it. So like right now she's vertical, so she's not going to go to school, but like when she would go to school and she didn't have one, the other kids would have them. They'd be listening to crazy shit. I think she was in maybe in third grade when it happened. Like the kids were on the bus listening to the YNW Melly, Murder on My Mind, right? And singing it, right? My child would never be allowed to listen to anything like that. But can I get on the bus and take up everybody's phone? Can I get on the bus and discipline other people's kids? Like, can I have to go tell all these parents how they should raise their children because it's impacting my child? Because she comes home and starts asking me questions and I have to explain things that, not saying that I have an issue explaining them, but maybe I didn't want to explain them then. Like, how does someone prevent something like that from happening? Because like I say, there's devices everywhere and you know, the influence is everywhere. How would you suggest a parent stop that?
When you put it like that, it's kind of hard to offer above that because like I said, everybody's gonna raise their kids their own way, But like I said, their own way, like I said. So like I said, but you really shouldn't let their parenting style affect your parenting style because like I said, I still maintain, like I said, if I had a little like if I had a little one who was singing that if I had a little one who was singing that type of tune, like I said, the only time it'd be okay, like I said, the only time it wouldn't be too bad is if they're singing it at the age where they don't know what it means, because you don't really have anything, because you don't really have anything to worry about. But as far, like I said, but if you have one who gets to the age where they understand things, the best way to go about it is to explain stuff to them, and so they know what to do, so they know what to do and what not to do. And as far as living in an age where everything is accessible and stuff, for me, if it's one thing I will always stand by no child should have a phone till they're at least no child should have a phone till they're at least 10 years old.
Oh, I agree, and I wouldn't. Shit, I think that's still too soon, myself. But but I get it. Mommies feel a different way. Mama birds feel a different way. But because I think, like I said, yeah, there's too much shit going on, and if you're not tech savvy enough to block a lot of that shit, you just have no idea. That's why they had that little YouTube kid situation that was going on, because a lot of these parents will just stick a device in these kids' hand and they don't check, they don't follow through, they're not observant, and it's a wrap. You know what I'm saying? So, it is what it is. But again, like I said, I just think it's extremely difficult in this day and age because of that. And, the parents have to be proactive. Also, like I said, it gets to a certain point too where I can say this and I can say that, hey, don't do this, don't do that, and I'm going to show you the right way to do this and do that. But then a child is looking at another child get to do this, that, and the third, and it looks like it's fun, and hey, kid, come over here, look at my phone, and hey, do all this stuff, and then there again, so I can say a lot of stuff, but I think there are certain ways that other kids can have maybe a larger impact or a larger influence in certain ways. So I think it's a very difficult thing. So I want to say yes, the parents they are responsible ultimately. But it's tough. It's tough being a parent these days, But it just has to be done. So it's way different than I think it used to be.
Yes, I say yes. Yes, it definitely is. And the same can't exactly be said by someone like me because there's things like I said, I'm 23. I'm 23, so I know I'm 23, so I know what a pre-social media world I know what a pre social media world is like.
Whoa,
But
whoa, 23. Let me see something. Hold on a minute. Let me see. 23. You was about
97.
97. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. You was a little something. Let me do some of my numbers. Let me calculate. You right in. I mean, you right barely. You know what I'm saying? Barely. I don't know, man. Cause when did MySpace come? MySpace was technically social. I mean, let me
I
calculate. How many two times?
Yes, but that
I'll just give you a
I
hard
didn't use
time.
I was one of those people where I didn't exactly use MySpace, and yes, sure, MySpace was a thing, but don't you remember? But that was a thing before. But that was a thing where that was a thing where people didn't abuse it and they didn't lose their damn minds over it.
I don't know. There's some crazy MySpaces out there. MySpace, it wasn't as bad as what people are doing now. They were just overly glittery and glamorized. Like MySpace used to be terrible. But yeah, it was some outrageous stuff going on MySpace too.
Yes,
But
but the thing is, back in the day, the thing is, not MySpace was just a platform, where social media social media should be used, basically just to express yourself and connect to express yourself and connect with your friend and connect with your friend and connect with your friends. And now social media and of course everyone knows now social media, it's just a place that fucks up your mind.
yeah, the event to corrupt you. If you're not using it for good, then you are being used for evil. Yeah, you ain't lying, 17. That top eight. If you wasn't in somebody's top friends like that I don't know, bro. Like that might have been the thing that ended friendships before voting for Trump. Like if that shit, if you wasn't in somebody's top friends, it was a toxic situation. Because I remember it started. I think it was. I can't remember how many it was. They like ended up having to expand it because it was such a problem. Yeah, I was gonna say it was four. I think it was four, and then it went to eight because it was like such an issue. Like people were like, it was caused a problem. Like so, shit. MySpace was just super tight. You could do up to 30. Oh hell, no, I didn't even have 32 whole. I don't even think I had 32 people on my MySpace. Um, so yeah, that's too goddamn much. Okay. Okay.
That's it. Honcho, like, look, if you want to talk about Honcho, if you want to talk about ruining friendship, if you want to talk about ruining friendships, but there's actually three things you should talk about. You should talk about. Talk about the blue shell, two, fatality, and three, the boardwalk.
Man, hold on. The blue shell, man, we were talking about that in the Discord the other day. The blue shell was definitely problematic. You know what I'm saying? That was definitely an issue. We talked about that. You said what else now? The blue shell, you said fatalities?
Yes, yes, and the board. Also, and the biggest one of all, and also the boardwalk.
The boardwalk. What was the board? Oh, you're talking about on the Park Place? Was it Park Place in the boardwalk?
Yeah,
Uh,
Park Place and the
yeah,
boardwalk.
you said
That
it.
was a friendship. That was a friend. That was
Man.
a friendship.
Yeah, you do that shit, and it's a wrap, bro. Yeah, it's definitely you gonna break somebody's pockets. Don't put the hotel on that bitch. Yeah, no, definitely. There's I'm sure Uno has ruined some friendships. I know people have come to blows behind uh, probably games of spades. It's been very heated games of dominoes out there, but yeah, the blue shell and Mario Kart was definitely was a game changer. Um, but I got a question, Mr. Fox. You're a younger gentleman. Like I say, you're actually younger than some of these guys that have kind of done what they've done and have kind of passed on, and you kind of see it maybe from a younger generation perspective. Like, how do you think, most people your age view these situations? Is it just, oh, another one, or are they exalting these people and or like what do you think that most people, how are they responding to these situations where these guys, multiple rappers getting killed, or even just people in the neighborhood dying from the same manners?
From my personal experience, it pretty much depends on who it is. It pretty much depends on who it is and who it is on how well you know them. Like I said before, this King Von, I said the King Von and the other people. Like I said, I don't really, like I said, I've never before that. I've never really heard of those guys. So I will be one of those people who chalk it up to just enough, who chalk it up to just another bit, who chalk it up to just another victim on the streets. But then on the other hand, I got kids. And then on the other hand, I got kids. I know that I got kids. I know that I used to know. I got kids that I got kids that I used to know personally who lost their lives to the streets. So of course I would have a di- so of course I would have a different reaction to that. So as I said before, that one of so like I said, the whole rappers getting killed and hit and innocent people getting killed. It pretty much depends on the perspective. Like pretty much if you don't know who the person is and just discover them, then it can be chalked up to just another victim. But if you actually know the person, it would have more of a sentimental thing.
Yeah, I agree. And I know and I get it with a lot of people who are sad and upset, especially if you actually spend time with these people, built a relationship with these people. I think there are some people, though, who are trying to get a little extra clout over it while they can before that wears out. But if you had a personal relationship with these people, yeah, you're gonna rock completely differently with the situation because of that relationship, because of the memories that you actually have compared to maybe somebody like me who just maybe heard a couple songs like, oh, it's kind of catchy, or this is wild, and kind of move on. So ultimately, yeah, it's sad that anybody, like, I'm not, whether I love them, hate them, know them, don't know them, I'm not encouraging anybody to harm anybody, to take anybody's life. Like, I believe that everybody has worth. And I just think, who knows, if one of those lives you could take might have been that special someone that changed the world. You just never know. So I don't really condone violence, or at least I say that on YouTube. Okay. But Mr. Frost, anything else that's on your mind and kind of in relation to this situation, or anything that maybe you may have missed? It's been a minute since we talked to you, so it's definitely good to hear from you. So anything else you got you want to speak on?
All I can say, like I said, all I can say is, like I said, that whole, like I said, me as much as anybody, I would like to see people get better. I would like to see people get better to stop the violence and all stuff like that. But like I said, but as I said earlier, violence, as I said before, violence, killing, all that stuff. You can't stop that type of stuff. You can only control it. So that's all that because I'm not one of those people. So I never say stop the violence. The only thing I like to be more realistic is say control the violence. Like the people who don't, like I said, the people who don't deserve it, they're the ones who shouldn't be killed. Now the people now and as you said before, I don't really condone violence either. But honestly, the only time that I do condone it is if the person is either so bad and such a menace to society. They should be put down. So that's pretty much what I can end on. You can't stop the violence, but you can only control the violence.
Okay. I think it could be stopped, but you probably have to take some real extreme measures. And I don't know, it may cause start some other things, but I can see where you're coming from with that, Mr. Frost. But I will say it is definitely good to hear from you. Good to know you're all right, man. Like I said, it's been a minute. So I thank you for jumping in and sharing your thoughts with us this afternoon.
And thank you for your time. Thank you for your time, Hunch.
All right, I appreciate it, man.
All right, I'll let you.
All right. So first, there is a piano back there. Excellent. Awesome. I'm going to go and I'm going to play the piano after the stream. But here's the deal, right? So this is what we're going to do. I told y'all, about 4 o'clock? About 4 o'clock, we'll do a little something on the OF, right? It's free. Join up. Actually, I think it costs 10 cents if you're not already on OnlyFans. If you're not already on OnlyFans, look at all the boppers and shit. So you know some of y'all on there. Some of y'all subscribe to the channel a little too quick. You know, I know some of y'all had to make an account to get on OnlyFans. Some of y'all subscribe to the channel a little too quick. Y'all was already on there looking at them boppers. And so about 4 o'clock, you know what I'm saying? About 4 o'clock, we're gonna do a little something on there. And no, I know the word OnlyFans automatically makes you think of little skeezers that you probably went to school with, but that's not how we rock it over there. We're gonna talk some real off the wall shit. Got a little crazy story I came across today. I wanted to do a video on it on YouTube, but everything that kind of went down in it, I want to talk about it very authentically. So YouTube won't be the place for it, but it has a cast of very interesting characters. And again, if you're a member on the channel, and I said that too, if you're a channel member, and what I'm gonna do is, like, with the only stuff, the OnlyFans content, I will be uploaded on the YouTube channel for members on the channel, so you can check that out. But again, it's super free. Just go over there and sign up. But if you don't have an OnlyFans account, I think it's 10 cents. Somebody said that. Broderick said it. I don't trust Broderick, but it is what it is. No, I'm not promoting the booty popping. Not yet. Man. Here's what I would say. Like, honestly, if you go directly there, and I'm not going to encourage you either way, because I understand your sentiments 100%. Mr. Dan the Man. So I'm 100%, right? So I don't want you to know, like, I'm not trying to mislead you or anything like that. Like, y'all know I promote, but I don't try to encourage anybody to do anything that they have convictions against. But if you go directly just to, the OnlyFans / Ed Honcho, you ain't gonna see nothing crazy. There will be no, wild deviations in anything else. So, you know what I mean? It'll be just that. You won't have to do something. Yellow Cool J Mom she did tell him nice. She had him out in the streets fighting. But like I said, it is what it is. Like I said, I just want to be able to have some of those more genuine conversations and talk about some things over there that, I know I'm getting suppressed on the tube for. So, but with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and get ready to wrap it up. And I ate a little something. I need to eat a little bit more. I do that intermittent fast. So I don't. And it's great. Like, you should. If anybody's out there who's not doing it, you should do it. It's a game changer, because I have not been exercising at all like I need to. But when I intermittent fast, I definitely lose the weight. Except for on 5 food 5 days when I eat the fucking 5 pounds of food. Anyway, so yeah, do that. Don't eat until afternoon. So whatever you like, would you stop eating about? When I stop at 9. No, 8. What time did I say? I usually stop about 9, and then I don't eat until the after 12 the next day. But most of the time I forget and don't eat till like 1, 2 o'clock. So. But I thank y'all for being here. I appreciate y'all for being here. Again, it's very unfortunate that, these two gentlemen lost their lives in the situation that they're in. And I don't think it changes. I actually expect to see more bodies falling before it's all said and done. If I expect to see retaliations. I expect to see, angry people. I expect to see it to continue on, right? Because nobody's going to sit here and say, hey, this is enough. Because if I lost somebody, I want you to feel the same pain that I felt, right? Or if you did something to me, I have to retaliate. But revenge doesn't bring anybody back. It doesn't really fill the void in you. It gives you nothing. But I don't know. I mean, sometimes I guess it just depends on who it is. It might feel good. Depending on what type of revenge we're talking about. If you're trying to get revenge on somebody for, like, murder, it's not bringing anybody back. But if you're getting revenge on somebody for, like, scuffing your shoe or something, I don't know. It is what it is. But we're going to slide into the after party. If you don't know what the after party is the Discord. After every stream, we gather together as a community, a crazy community of intellectually ratchet people. Yes, intellectually ratchet people, and we slide into the Discord and we chop it up. So if you're not in the Den Discord, I'm gonna drop the link in there. It is a great place to get to chop it up with the other Den folk, and it's always a very intriguing. No, it's not. I'm lying. It's not always a very intriguing conversation. Sometimes it's terrible conversation, but then sometimes it gets extremely good. And sometimes sometimes there's few hour conversations. It's just that good, you know. Pew pew pew. And Ratchet knows Ratchet. Like, I've never played that game. I seen it, but I ain't never played. This Discord link, man. Make sure you hit that bitch. Make sure you're in that thing. And yeah, it's time to cha-cha slide. I thank y'all for being here. I'm gonna go play the piano in Discord, and so if you want to see that, then you're gonna have to slide. But I thank y'all, man. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Again, every one of y'all. I sincerely appreciate you, man. If I ain't never seen your face, even if you don't talk that much, even if you're just somewhere lurking and just watching the video at home, enjoying it, I appreciate you for tuning in. But with that being said, I'm Ed Honcho. I'm Chunking the Badoosh. Y'all be cool like y'all be cool. And slide to the after party, man. Let's chop it up. I'm in that thing like right, and I'm literally going directly from it. I'm in there now, right? Like, y'all gonna hear a little noise in the background. Let me just show you. I'll show you how in there I am. I'm in there like swimwear. I'm in there like booty hair. I'm in that thing. See, I see. Okay, Big Pimpin' already in there, baby. It's going down. So a couple of folks already in that thing. But with that being said, I appreciate y'all trying to do. Y'all be cool like y'all be cool. But get the damn after party, man. What y'all here? I don't even know what y'all here. You see people sliding in and shit. Motherfuckers making noise and shit and all that good shit. But yeah, I ain't even got no outro. So bye. Peace.